The slap echoed through the penthouse. Sophia stumbled backward, her hand flying to her reddening cheek, eyes wide with shock. "You want to destroy my relationship with my son?" Gladys hissed, stepping closer. "Try it. See what happens. I've been in Ethan's life for 27 years. I saved him. I made him. And I will bury you before I let some gold digger take him from me." "I'm not," Sophia's voice shook. "I'm trying to protect him from you." "Protect him?" Gladys laughed coldly. "From the woman who pulled him out of foster care, who gave him everything. He worships me. And when I tell him you've been lying, manipulating, trying to steal his money and blame it on me, he'll throw you out himself. That's not true. You're the one stealing." "Prove it," Gladys whispered, her face inches from Sophia's. "Go ahead. Show him your evidence. Let's see who he believes." Neither woman saw him. Ethan stood frozen in the hallway, having come home early, his whole world shattering as he realized one simple, terrifying truth. One of these women was a monster, and he had no idea which one. But before we continue, kindly hit the subscribe button and tell us where you are viewing from. Ethan had been living what most people would call a perfect life. At 34, he'd built a tech empire worth over $1 billion. He had homes in Manhattan and the Hamptons, a beautiful wife named Sophia, and a mother who'd sacrificed everything to give him the life he now lived. Gladys had adopted Ethan from foster care when he was 7 years old. She'd been a single woman working 3 jobs, barely making ends meet, but she'd seen something in that scared little boy and decided he deserved a chance. She'd worked herself to exhaustion putting him through private school. She'd mortgaged her house to fund his first startup. She was the reason for everything he'd become. So when Sophia asked to talk to him that Tuesday evening, Ethan had no idea his entire world was about to collapse. They sat across from each other at their dining room table, expensive food growing cold on their plates. Sophia had been quiet for days, distant in a way that made Ethan's stomach turn. He'd assumed it was work stress or maybe just the normal rough patch every marriage goes through. He was wrong. "I need to tell you something about your mother," Sophia said quietly, not meeting his eyes. "And you're not going to want to believe me." She slid a manila folder across the table. Inside were bank statements. 5 accounts Ethan didn't recognize, all linked to his business accounts. As he scanned the documents, Sophia continued. "I found these while organizing our financial records for the tax accountant. Someone has been making regular withdrawals from your accounts, small amounts spread out over time. 5,000 here, 10,000 there, 20,000 the next month." Ethan's eyes caught on the numbers at the bottom of the page. Over 18 months, these mysterious accounts had drained $340,000 from his business. "I don't understand," he said. "Who would—" "Look at the account holder name," Sophia interrupted. Ethan's blood went cold. His mother's name was on every single account. "No," he said immediately. "There has to be an explanation. Maybe these are old accounts she helped me set up, or—" "I thought the same thing," Sophia cut in. "That's why I talked to her yesterday. I wanted to give her a chance to explain before bringing this to you." Ethan felt anger flash through him. "You confronted my mother without telling me?" "I thought it might be a misunderstanding," Sophia's voice cracked. "I didn't want to worry you over nothing. But Ethan, when I showed her these statements, she didn't explain. She denied everything. She said I was paranoid and jealous, that I was trying to turn you against her so I could control your money." Sophia's hands were shaking now as she continued. "Then she got angry, really angry. She told me if I kept pushing this, I would regret it. The way she looked at me when she said it, it felt like a threat." Ethan stood up, pacing away from the table. This couldn't be real. His mother, the woman who'd given him everything, stealing from him? It was impossible. "She doesn't need money," he said. "I bought her a house. I send her a monthly allowance. I pay for everything she could possibly want. Why would she steal?" "That's what scares me," Sophia replied. "Some of these withdrawals go back 2 years, Ethan. Right after we got married. What if she has a problem with me? With us? What if this is about more than just money?" Ethan felt his world tilting. He looked at his wife, really looked at her, and saw genuine fear in her eyes. But he also saw his mother's face in his mind, the woman who'd tucked him in every night as a scared foster kid, who'd promised him he'd never be alone again. One of them had to be lying. One of them had to be manipulating him. But which one? That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He sat in his home office until nearly dawn, staring at those bank statements, trying to find some explanation that would make sense. His phone buzzed around 2 a.m. with a text from Gladys. "Can we meet for breakfast tomorrow? It's important." Ethan stared at the message for a long time before responding. "My office, 9 a.m. He had no idea that conversation would change everything. Gladys arrived at Ethan's office at exactly 9 a.m., looking nothing like a woman who'd been caught stealing. She wore a simple blue dress and carried her usual warm smile. When she hugged Ethan, he felt his resolve waver. This was the woman who'd saved his life. How could he accuse her of betrayal? "I'm so glad you wanted to meet," Gladys said, settling into the chair across from his desk. "I've been worried sick since yesterday." "About what?" Ethan asked carefully. "About Sophia." Gladys's smile faded. "Sweetheart, I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen with an open mind. Can you do that for me?" Ethan nodded, his throat tight. "Yesterday, your wife came to my house and accused me of stealing from you. She had these ridiculous bank statements claiming I'd taken hundreds of thousands of dollars." Gladys shook her head sadly. "At first, I thought she was joking. But she was completely serious, Ethan. She was angry and aggressive." "She showed me the same statements," Ethan said quietly. "Your name is on those accounts, Mom." "I know it is," Gladys replied calmly, "because Sophia put it there." The words hung in the air like a bomb. "What?" Gladys leaned forward, her eyes filling with tears. "I didn't want to believe it either, but after she left yesterday, I did some digging. I called my bank, I checked my credit report, I looked into everything. Someone opened those accounts using my identity, Ethan. Someone who had access to all my personal information." She pulled out her own folder, spreading documents across his desk. "Look at the signatures on these account applications. That's not my handwriting. Look at the phone number listed. It's not my number. And look at this email address they used for correspondence. I don't even know how to set up an email, you know that." Ethan stared at the papers, his head spinning. The signatures did look off, and his mother still used a flip phone. She'd never had an email account in her life. "I don't understand," he said. "Why would Sophia—" "Because she wants me out of your life," Gladys interrupted, her voice breaking. "Think about it, sweetheart. Has she ever really been comfortable with how close we are? Has she ever liked that you talk to me every day, that you ask my advice about business decisions?" Ethan wanted to argue, but something stopped him. He remembered small comments Sophia had made over the years. Little jokes about getting permission from Mom before making decisions. Her suggestion last year that maybe he should establish some boundaries with Gladys. "She's been planning this for months," Gladys continued. "Setting up these accounts, making it look like I'm stealing from you. And now she's playing the victim, making you think I threatened her. Ethan, I would never threaten anyone. You know me." "Then explain what happened when she confronted you yesterday." Gladys sighed. "I got defensive. I'll admit that. When someone accuses you of something so horrible, it's hard to stay calm. But I never threatened her. I told her she was making a mistake, that she was going to regret destroying our family with these lies. Maybe she took that as a threat. But that's not what I meant." She reached across the desk and took Ethan's hand. "Sweetheart, I'm scared. If Sophia is willing to forge documents and commit identity fraud to frame me, what else is she capable of? What if this is about more than just driving us apart? What if she's planning something bigger?" "Like what?" "Like taking everything you've built," Gladys said quietly. "Think about it. If she convinces you I'm stealing from you, you cut me out of your life. Then who's your only family? Who's the only person you trust? It's her. And if something were to happen to you, or if she decided to divorce you, she'd walk away with half of everything. maybe more. Ethan pulled his hand back. That's insane. Sophia has never cared about my money. She had her own successful career before we married. Did she? Gladys asked. Or did she tell you she did? Ethan, how much do you really know about Sophia's life before you met her? Did you ever verify her college degree? Her work history? Did you run a background check? She's my wife, not a job applicant. I know. Gladys softened her tone. I'm sorry. I'm just so upset about all this. But sweetheart, I need you to consider the possibility that I'm telling the truth. Someone set up those accounts in my name. Someone is trying to destroy our relationship. And the only person who benefits from that is Sophia. Ethan stood up and walked to the window, looking out over Manhattan. His mind was racing. Everything his mother said made a certain kind of sense. But so did everything Sophia had said. One of them was lying. One of them was manipulating him with incredible skill. I need time to think, he said finally. Of course, Gladys said, standing. But Ethan, please be careful around her. I'm genuinely worried about your safety. A woman who would do all this. There's no telling what she might do if she feels cornered. After his mother left, Ethan sat in his office for hours, staring at both sets of documents. Sophia's evidence of theft, Gladys's evidence of fraud. That's when the idea came to him, an idea that felt like betrayal even as he considered it. He would install cameras in his home, hidden ones, and he would watch both women when they thought no one was looking. It was the only way to know the truth. Oh. Ethan spent $15,000 on a professional surveillance system that afternoon. Tiny cameras disguised as smoke detectors, wall outlets, and picture frames. The installer asked no questions. Rich people in Manhattan paid for stranger things. Within 24 hours, every room in the penthouse was covered. Living room, kitchen, bedrooms, even the hallways. The feeds streamed directly to Ethan's laptop, encrypted and password protected. He told himself he'd only watch for a few days. Just long enough to catch whoever was lying in an unguarded moment. The first 3 days revealed nothing. Sophia went to work, came home, made dinner, watched TV. She talked to friends on the phone about normal things, weekend plans, a new restaurant, someone's baby shower. Nothing suspicious. Gladys visited twice. Both times she was perfectly pleasant to Sophia. They discussed recipes and chatted about Ethan's upcoming birthday. If there was tension between them, the cameras didn't catch it. Ethan started to feel like a paranoid fool. Maybe there was a simple explanation for everything. Maybe he should just confront both of them together and... Then came day 4. Ethan was in his office at work when his phone buzzed with a motion alert. Someone had entered the penthouse. He checked the timestamp. 2:17 p.m. Sophia was at work. He pulled up the live feed. His mother was inside. She had a key, of course. Ethan had given her 1 year ago for emergencies. But she was supposed to call before using it. He watched as Gladys moved through the apartment, looking around carefully, as if making sure she was alone. Then she went into his home office. Ethan's heart pounded as he watched his mother sit at his desk and open his laptop. She knew his password. He'd given it to her months ago when she needed to print something. Her fingers moved across the keyboard with surprising speed for someone who claimed to barely understand technology. She was checking his bank accounts. No, Ethan realized with growing horror. She was transferring money, small amounts, just like the statements showed. 5,000 here, 8,000 there. Moving funds through a series of accounts before finally landing them somewhere he couldn't see. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part came when Gladys pulled out her phone and made a call. Ethan couldn't hear what she was saying through the camera's audio, but he could read her lips well enough. It's done, she said. Another 15,000. No, he has no idea. The wife is starting to suspect something, but I handled it. I told him she's trying to frame me. She laughed. Actually laughed. Don't worry. I've been playing the devoted mother for 27 years. I can keep it up a little longer. Once we hit 2 million, I'm gone. He'll never find me. Ethan's hands shook so badly he nearly dropped his phone. $2 million. 27 years of lies. His mother, the woman who saved him from foster care, had been using him from the very beginning. But the cameras had one more secret to reveal. And this one would break him completely. Ethan didn't confront his mother immediately. He needed to know everything first. How deep did this go? Was anyone else involved? He watched the footage obsessively for 2 more days, barely sleeping. Gladys visited the penthouse 3 more times when she thought no one was home, each time transferring more money. But on day 6, something happened that Ethan wasn't prepared for. Sophia came home early from work. She looked upset, mascara smudged like she'd been crying. She poured herself a large glass of wine and sat on the couch, staring at nothing. Then she pulled out her phone and made a call. "It's getting worse," Sophia said, her voice thick with emotion. "He's pulling away from me. I can see it happening. She's winning." Ethan's stomach dropped. Was Sophia involved too? "I don't know what else to do," Sophia continued. "I showed him the bank statements. I told him about her threats, but he doesn't believe me. He thinks I'm jealous or paranoid or, I don't know, maybe trying to steal his money." There was a pause as the person on the other end spoke. "No, I can't just leave him," Sophia said firmly. "I love him. That's what she doesn't understand. I don't care about his money. I never have. I just want him to see what she's doing before it's too late." Another pause. "My lawyer said unless I have concrete proof, there's nothing I can do. It's her word against mine, and he's known her for 27 years. He's known me for 4. Sophia's voice broke. "I'm losing him to someone who's been stealing from him, and there's nothing I can do about it." She ended the call and buried her face in her hands, sobbing. Ethan sat frozen in his office, watching his wife fall apart on camera. She wasn't scheming, she wasn't planning anything. She was just a woman desperately trying to save her husband from someone who was using him. And he'd doubted her. He'd installed cameras to spy on her. He'd wondered if she was the manipulator. The shame hit him like a physical blow, but before he could process it, his phone buzzed with another alert. Gladys had just entered the penthouse again, and this time, Sophia was home. Ethan pulled up the live feed with shaking hands, watching as his mother and wife came face to face in his living room. What happened next would be captured on camera forever. Sophia looked up as Gladys entered, quickly wiping her tears. "Gladys, I didn't know you were coming over." "I still have a key, dear," Gladys said sweetly. "Is Ethan home?" "No, he's at work," Sophia said. "Perfect." Gladys's smile vanished. "We need to talk." Sophia stood up. "About what?" "About you backing off," Gladys said coldly. "I don't know what game you think you're playing with those fake bank statements, but it ends now." "Fake?" Sophia's voice rose. "I have proof you've been stealing from him." "You have documents you created yourself," Gladys snapped. "And Ethan is starting to see through your little scheme. He's been distant with you lately, hasn't he? Pulling away?" Sophia's face went pale. "That's right," Gladys continued. "He told me everything. He's having doubts about you, Sophia, about your motives, about why you really married him." "That's a lie," Sophia yelled. "Is it?" Gladys stepped closer. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to drop this accusation. You're going to apologize to me in front of Ethan, and you're going to stop trying to come between us." Gladys's voice dropped to ice. "Or I'll make sure Ethan divorces you with nothing. I've been in his life for 27 years. You've been here for 4. Who do you think he'll believe in the end?" "He'll believe the truth," Sophia said, but her voice trembled. "The truth is whatever I say it is," Gladys replied. "I raised that boy. I made him who he is. He owes me everything. And deep down, he knows it. You're just a pretty distraction he'll eventually get over." Sophia's hands clenched into fists. "Get out of my home." "Your home, Gladys? Or—" Cesaro laughed. "Sweetie, this is my son's home. You're just living in it." She turned and walked toward Ethan's office. And Sophia, desperate and cornered, made a decision that would change everything. Sophia pulled out her phone and started recording. "What are you really doing here, Gladys?" she asked loudly. Gladys spotted the camera, and her expression turned venomous. "Put that down." "No, I'm tired of being gaslighted." "Why are you in Ethan's office when he's not home?" Sophia yelled. "That's none of your business," Gladys responded. "Actually, it is, because I checked something yesterday." Sophia's voice was steady now, stronger. "I hired a forensic accountant. They traced those withdrawals back to their source. Every single one came from this apartment, from Ethan's laptop, while I was at work." Gladys's face drained of colour. "The IP address, the login times, everything," Sophia continued. "You've been coming here for months, transferring money when you thought no one would. No." "You can't prove anything," Gladys said. "I already did. The report goes to Ethan tonight." Something dangerous flashed in Gladys's eyes. She stepped forward. "Listen to me very carefully, you little gold digger. That money is mine. I spent 27 years investing in that boy, turning him into what he is. Every dollar I took is payment for what I'm owed." "You adopted a child as an investment?" "I adopted a meal ticket," Gladys hissed. "A smart kid who could make something of himself. And I was right. Do you know how much I spent on his education, his first business? I deserve every penny." Sophia kept recording, her hand trembling but steady. "When Ethan sees this—" "Ethan will never believe you over me," Gladys cut her off. "I'm his mother, his saviour. You're just some woman he married. I've already planted enough doubt in his mind about you. By the time I'm done, he'll think you fabricated this entire recording." She moved closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that the phone barely caught. "And if you push this, if you try to destroy me, I'll destroy you first. I'll make him hate you. I'll make him think you're unstable, manipulative, dangerous. I'll take everything from you, including him." "No," a voice said from the doorway. "You won't." Both women spun around. Ethan stood there, his laptop in his hands, playing back weeks of recorded footage. "I've seen everything, Mom," he said quietly. "Every transfer, every phone call, every lie." Gladys's face transformed through shock, panic, and finally settled on something cold and calculating. "Ethan, sweetheart, I can explain." "Explain what? That you called me ungrateful on the phone? That you said you've been playing the devoted mother for 27 years? That you're waiting to hit 2 million before disappearing?" The colour drained from Gladys's face completely now. "You recorded me? In my conversations? That's illegal." "Not when it's my home, my laptop, and my security system," Ethan said. His voice was eerily calm, but his hands shook. "I installed cameras 2 weeks ago. I've watched everything." Sophia looked at him in shock. "You knew?" "I found out 6 days ago," Ethan admitted. "I watched you crying on the phone to your sister, watched you tell her you were losing me and didn't know what to do, watched you say you didn't care about the money. You just wanted me to see the truth." Tears streamed down Sophia's face. Ethan turned back to his mother. "I also watched you steal from me in my own home, watched you plot and scheme. But I needed to see how far you'd go." He gestured to the confrontation he'd just witnessed. "Now I know." Gladys's mask finally shattered. The warm, loving mother vanished, replaced by something cold and predatory. "You self-righteous little fool," she said. "Do you think you'd be anything without me? I made you. That company, that money, that life, it only exists because I pulled you out of that foster home." "You're right," Ethan said quietly. "And I've thanked you every day for 27 years. I bought you a house. I gave you money. I gave you everything I thought you needed." "You gave me scraps," Gladys shouted. "Scraps from the empire I built. I'm the one who should be living in this penthouse. I'm the one who deserves the billion-dollar company. Not you, and certainly not her." The hatred in her voice when she looked at Sophia was chilling. "I want you out," Ethan said. "Now. I'm changing the locks tonight. If you come back, I'm calling the police." Gladys laughed, a bitter, ugly sound. "You won't press charges. You're too soft, too sentimental. You still love your mommy too much." "You're wrong," Ethan said. "I loved my mother, but I watched her die on those camera feeds. The woman standing in front of me is a stranger who used a 7-year-old boy's desperation for love as a business opportunity. He opened his laptop and turned it toward her. I've compiled everything. Every transfer, every phone call, every moment you thought no one was watching. My lawyers have it. The police have it. And if you're not gone in 60 seconds, I'm having you arrested for embezzlement and fraud. For the first time, real fear crossed Gladys's face. She looked at Sophia with pure venom. This is your fault. You poisoned him against me. No, Sophia said softly. You did that yourself. Gladys grabbed her purse and walked to the door. But before leaving, she turned back one last time. You'll regret this, she said to Ethan. Both of you. That little boy in foster care, the one who cried himself to sleep every night, he's still in there. And when you're lying awake tonight, alone with your precious wife and your precious money, you'll remember that I was the only one who ever wanted you. The door slammed. Sophia immediately went to Ethan, but he held up a hand, stopping her. For a long moment he just stood there, staring at the closed door. Ethan, Sophia whispered. She's wrong, he said quietly. About you not wanting me. She's wrong about that, right? Sophia's heart broke. She took his face in her hands. I wanted you the moment I met you. Not your money, not your success. You, the man who remembered I don't like cilantro, who stayed up all night when I had the flu, who calls his mother every Sunday because he's terrified of being ungrateful. Ethan's composure finally cracked. He collapsed into Sophia's arms and wept. For the mother he thought he had, for the 27 years of lies, for the little boy who'd been used from the very beginning. 6 months later, Gladys was convicted of embezzling $1.7 million. She was sentenced to 5 years in prison. She never apologized, never showed remorse. At the sentencing, she looked directly at Ethan and said, I should have left you in that foster home. Those were the last words she ever spoke to him. Ethan and Sophia stayed together. They went to therapy, both individually and as a couple. Some days were harder than others. Some nights Ethan still woke up wondering if he'd made a terrible mistake. But Sophia was always there, reminding him that love isn't supposed to come with a price tag. That real family doesn't keep a ledger of debts owed. 2 years later, they had a daughter. They named her Grace. And Ethan promised himself that she would never, ever question whether she was loved for who she was. Not for what she could provide, because that's what real parents do. That's what his mother never understood. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, and subscribe for more. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated. Share the story with friends and join us for more stories.